Yo, pump it up. It's time for the news. Yo, we getting ready to bring you the news, boy. You need to know it.
Welcome to another episode of Open Run. This is the quarantine edition where everybody's using the Zoom app. So we saw the window open, so we said F it. So we got a special guest on today. We have Coach Brandon Giles. He's the head coach at Polk State College. He was also a high school standout at Auburndale High School. And if I'm not mistaken, he was a standout at Western Carolina as well. Division I basketball player, played pro ball over in Germany for a while.
Go Catamounts.
That's right, man. And I also,
Yes,
too,
sir. Go Cat.
he's the son of my coach that I had in JUCO, the late, great Josh Giles, man, the best coach I ever had. Taught me,
Sir, love. Yes, sir.
Everything I know, man. Great man. So today's topic, we're going to talk about the impacts that social distancing has on recruitment. So I know, Brandon, this is the time where you guys are out looking at players to try to bring them in. How is social distancing hurting you guys?
The biggest part really is, as a coach, whenever you're about to get that kid an opportunity, you always want to be able to put your eyes on him. You only can see so much in the film. So the biggest part really is just not being able to get kids down here on visits, to, kind of see him for yourself, not only see him for yourself, but also so you can see your program and all the different aspects and different things that you offer, at your institution. So really the biggest part is just that face-to-face communication. But, the positive side to it, I've been talking to a lot of people about and just saying, listen, man, for me, this has been a great time for me to build relationships with some of these guys, really get to know them, talk to them, really get to know kid. Because, think about it, right now I would be on the road or during postseason or something like that. I'm talking to the kid, but it's I'm not 100% present because there's so much more going on in my mind. But, I'm on the phone or texting with a kid, I'm 100% locked into that conversation to where now it's a little more genuine and stuff like that. Dang, I got a phone call. But you get what I'm saying? You can kind of really get to know kids during this time period. It's that's a plus to me because you see a lot of these kids now transferring and these transfer portals are so big, but I think a lot of it having to do with both parties not really knowing each other.
Can I ask Coach? Because I'm a JUCO kid too. I went to Central Florida Community College, and I know a lot.
All right, I hate to see what's happening down there.
Yeah, so I know a lot. I know a lot of your recruitment that relies on bringing kids in. Especially if you don't have a big budget, so you're able to see some kids by offering them, reaching out to some coaches and bringing them in. How is that having an impact on you, especially finding that sleeper, that kid that you would not hear about, but if he popped up in your gym at an open workout or invitation workout, how is that having an impact on your program?
Well, it goes back to relationships, and you guys probably know this just from, dealing in the travel ball scheme of it all. It all goes back to relationships and really being able to tap into those relationships and those guys that you actually trust. And it's not just somebody that's maybe trying to put their problem off on you or they're getting paid by putting this kid in school, that type of stuff. During these times, especially, you're tapping into your strongest and most trustworthy relationships. So that's how, with not being able to bring them down here and stuff like that again, if I hit up some of the guys that I have some of the most trustworthy relationships with or just dudes that I know kind of know the game and things like that, I'm going to trust everything dude's telling me during this time because he gets it. He understands it. So, again, it just goes back to relationships. Same thing if somebody's trying to send y'all a kid to the skills center, sometimes, it's all about developing young kids and things like that, but at the end of the day, if y'all got somebody telling you, hey, this kid can go, he can play, and it's a dude that you got a real good relationship with and he knows the game, you're going to rock with that all day long, I think.
Yeah, but what I'm asking is those kids that are sleepers, a lot of kids out here don't have relationships or the coaches don't have resources. They don't have relationship with college coaches. They're coaching. Some of them are just coaching, and they're just coaching for the love of the game. They're just coaching because nobody else wanted to coach at their school. So those kids that don't have those resources, may pop up in your gym, and you see them, and nobody else sees them. So I'm just saying, what about those kids? Is that sleeper? You can get a call from a coach all day.
Yeah.
All the time, guys that that know basketball. But what about those coaches that are in small schools? They don't have relationships, and these kids are just looking for opportunity. So is it creating a lack of resources, or is it creating an issue for those kids to be seen as well?
Yeah, and I apologize for not answering it the first time, but yeah, it's a tough situation because you're right. Like, there are a lot of sleepers, sadly so, that aren't going to get seen by the coaches, the amount of coaches that they should get seen by, are just coaches, period, because of this time period right now. And that's really tough. And you really got to be hoping for somebody to really, take a chance, because, we were having an event on March 22nd, and I think we had 12 kids signed up, but we'll have another 10 to 12 walk in. And I'm sure there were going to be 2 or 3 sleepers there. So it's like, we're not the only people doing that. There's plenty of colleges doing that. So it's really tough with those sleepers not being able to get out and be seen by coaches and things like that. So yes, to answer your question, yes, I do think it is going to kind of create, a little bit of backlash for those kids. And it's just a tough situation. It's a very bad luck of the draw, but it's all out of our control, so to speak.
Yeah, because I was looking at it like this, and I do apologize, but I was thinking about it with those kids that are 2020 kids that needed this first live period to go back out on the road and get some love.
Man,
it's gonna be a sad piece for them, because how is it that coaches are going to be able to see those kids? Are they going to allow these kids? If you heard anything, they're going to allow these kids to play in the second live period?
Yeah. Yeah, and I haven't heard anything about that live period stuff, but to be honest, I think the NCAA is really going to come out with some stimulus packages for athletes, like not anything money-wise, if you get what I'm saying, but something to help their eligibility, their ability to be seen. Because also think about all the juniors who are sleepers. Like, there's a couple right here in Polk County, I know, high school juniors that were sleepers, to where this March live period and April live period and so on were going to be so important to getting them, those college looks and that exposure out there. And they're not going to be able to do that now because obviously everything's been shut down. So, like I say, it's really tough times, and it's just nobody's ever been through this. I've talked to probably 30 to 40 coaches at all different levels, and no one really has the answers or anything, because nobody's ever experienced this. Like, everybody's calling their mentors, and they're people that they kind of pour into. And again, like, nobody has that answer to say, yeah, this is what you should be doing, because we've never experienced this, or hey, we can handle this situation like that. So really, everybody's just kind of bouncing different ideas off each other, and then you're just kind of taking it, putting your own identity in it, and moving forward. But it's definitely a tough time and a weird time for recruiting. Just very, very weird. But I'm very optimistic. I like to look at things more so in the positive aspect, and that's why I said right now, really, regardless who's hitting me, talent-wise, like, I'm building relationships with these kids. I'm responding back. I'm talking. I'm asking them questions. I'm really getting to know them. I had another call. Sorry. I'm getting to know them, because like that's the only thing we can do right now. And then you can build your own brand within your program too. And we're really trying to do that during this period of time.
It's funny that you talk about relationships and people recommending, because if I'm not mistaken, I don't think your dad ever saw me play in high school, but there was a guy named Archie. I don't know if that rings a bell for you. I don't remember his last name, but his name is Archie. He played, and he told your dad about me, and yep, and that's how I ended up getting in there.
Archie Pierce, was he from Lakeland, or do you not know?
He was from Lakeland, yeah.
And then was his son Pierre on y'all's team?
Pierre came later when I was gone, I think.
Yep. And I know exactly what you're talking about. And a lot of that, like, we're going back to that right now. A lot of that's happening. And again, it goes back to relationships. I'm sure my dad trusted the hell out of Archie. And, you know, Archie pick up the phone, call him. My dad probably know, okay, this is something for real. You know, I'm going to listen. I'm going to follow up, and I'm going to go get the kid. And that's really what's going on now. Guys are making phone calls. I've gotten a lot of people thrown at me over this time period. And, again, it's just all dudes that you have those different relationships with.
Okay. I just got a question. I just want you to be honest with it, because, you know, we pretty much have a pretty big county around here, and we don't have a big turnout as far as these 28 high schools of kids actually going to the next level, like a big number.
Yeah, Coach, you're it broke up a little bit. What you said? You had a what? I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, as far as recruiting, you know, Hillsborough County is a pretty much big county. And the numbers of kids going to the next level are very small. My opinion, you know, a lot of them just think they're, you know, Division I county.
Yeah.
You know, and here you right here in the back door, you know, over in Polk County. Is it the kids overlooking your school, or is it you overlooking the kids in the area?
I think it's a little bit of both, but more so, a lot of kids are frowning upon the fact of junior college, not understanding what junior college is and what it will do for you. There's a lot of benefits to going JUCO, and I think a lot of kids frown upon that because some of them don't understand it. Some of them think junior college is only put there for academic purposes because I don't qualify, but we had a freshman qualifier this year with he came in with one offer, and now he's leaving us with 18 different offers to Division I institutions, so he's going to be able to make his decision and go. So it's not always that. It's just a matter of maybe I was one of those sleepers that Coach talked about earlier. I didn't get exposed. This junior college took a chance on me, and it paid off. And then the other side to it, like you say, when schools are overlooking, man, this recruiting game, when I tell you it is so funny, and coaches are very, very what's the word I'm thinking of? I can't put my mind on that word.
Meticulous.
Yes, like very particular, and don't want to you don't want to take a chance or really miss out on anything, so to speak. And it's just tough. Like if that kid does not fit exactly what coach is looking for, or let's just say they won 15 games and coach won a 20-win season, and it's just like, man, we got to get better than what we just won with. I really got to go get somebody who can, you know, produce on both ends of the floor, who's coachable, great practice guy, you know, the whole nine. And then size. One big thing about it nowadays, man, size. Like there's probably 100. No lie, I probably have been contacted on at least 70 to 100 between emails and text messages and phone calls, 70 to 100 point guards during this time period. And just this week. And, you know, like, and a lot of them, to be honest, a lot of them are between 5'8", 5'9", and 6 foot. And from my experience, my first 3 years, I have gotten somewhat a little bit ate up at that position when you're that small. And it's tough. It's tough to make that decision right now, early on in the game, especially with the times that we're going through.
And I think you just touched on the issue, because I don't think that a lot of the kids and the parents as well understand how big of a jump it is, even from high school to go to JUCO. And you know, and some of the kids, they just don't have it. They just not. I mean, they were good. They were pretty good high school players, but most of the time, like probably 80% of the time, that doesn't translate to the next level. Like if you were a decent high school player, you're gonna probably be below average on that next level. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think a lot of people really understand that jump.
Yeah. Hey, so I have a two-part question. I have a comment that I make. I'm a JUCO kid, so I understand how JUCO works. We had my sophomore year, all 5 of us went D1, so we had a pretty good squad. In 2 years, we had 9 kids go D1. So back when I was playing, JUCO was for D1 bandits. You know, basically that's what it was. You know,
Right.
so it was a high level of basketball, and I still think it is. Tell me this: do you think with the portal? This is just, I'm asking because I think this is where it's going. So it's my opinion, but I'm asking it as a question. With the portal, it's going to send a lot of high school kids into JUCO. So it's going to be really good for JUCOs because Division I coaches are looking for those kids that are one, established, bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic, have a little age on them. Especially if you can get a kid that's a 1 year, 2 year D1 transfer in the portal to go to another D1 situation, from a bigger D1, from a mid-major D1 to a small D1, wherever it come from. So do you think it's a benefit for JUCOs right now with the portal in place?
Yes and no. It's a huge benefit when, like, you look at a lot of the, especially freshman transfers, those guys who are transferring out of D1 institutions and they're freshmen. Us JUCOs, we're all over those guys. It's like, hey, look, you can come play for us for a year. We'll get you exposed. We're going to play, especially speaking for Florida JUCOs, we're going to play in one of the best conferences in the country. So you're going to be challenged every night. You're going to get developed. So as far as trying to get one of those kids to come play for your program, yes, it's definitely a benefit. But then the other side to it, in terms of getting your kids out of that JUCO into schools, tough now because a lot of these coaches too are saying, well, hey, especially if this new rule gets passed about if you could transfer and play right away. If that rule gets passed, like, that's going to hurt a lot of kids leaving JUCOs because these kids are just going to take these other D1 guys that can come transfer in and play right away. And it could be a starter, it could be a 6-man, 7th man, it could be a 20-point scorer. He may just not like his situation, but this new rule may give these kids opportunity to say, hey, I'm going to move on to a new institution. So I think a lot of Division I schools are going to play the waiting game and really wait on this transfer portal, and I'll see which guys they can go ahead and get that are already on the Division I level.
But how is it going to impact? How is it going to be a good asset for the high school kids that are coming out?
Yes and no again, because all those JUCO guys are trying to go get those D1 transfers, and if you know you got to go compete against 2 or 3 schools to win it all, to do nothing but recruit D1 transfers, hell, we're trying to go recruit those same type of guys and as talented guys. So you're kind of waiting on the high school guys because you're trying to get 2 or 3 transfers in the early signing periods. And these high school guys are now getting a little anxious and a little worried and, losing a little bit of confidence because they're not getting those offers they want. But they wait around to, mid-June, late July, they're going to start getting those offers. It's just going to happen late. And that's just what I'm seeing just from talking to coaches and just knowing how the game works. Like, the number 1 team in the country who's in our conference, they eat us up year in and year out with 4 or 5 Division I transfers who can play. So it's like, for me to go get these guys, for me to want to beat these guys and be able to beat these guys, I need to get somebody just as talented. And a lot of times those are other Division I transfers. Speaking of right now locally, though.
Let me go back to the 5'8", 5'9" question, Brandon. Because Joe would not recruit. Hey, Joe would never recruit Junior because he looks at me. But
he wouldn't pass the eye test.
I wouldn't pass the eye test. But real talk, I just had a conversation, and I played D2 basketball. But every time I have a small guard, and I had every year at the skill center, I always had a small point guard. But they were one of the better guards around here. But I always tell them, what sets you apart from a kid who's 6'3" and can do the same thing? So as a coach in JUCO or as a coach in anything, in any division, what do you look for in a sense that you're saying you get kid in that position? And so if you are a small guard at 5'8", 5'9", what do you think? What can pass your test that say, yo, okay, I can ride with him?
Yeah.
Because these kids don't understand it. I try to explain to them, but they don't get it.
And I'll be honest, I've had 3 all of my 3 years here so far. And one thing that, a good amount of them have had is they are able to get other guys shots like no other, because you probably know, John, it's tough guarding you guys, especially if you can handle the rock and you got some IQ and you understand spacing and getting downhill and pick and roll action. It's tough to guard y'all. So if you are small, number one, it got to be heart over height all day long. Like, you got to have more heart than what you do height. You got to be one of the toughest dudes on the floor if you are small and you want us to give you a shot, because it's at times it's going to get tough. And, John, you probably can attest to that. Like, it's going to be tough at times just because I wasn't blessed with 4 or 5 more inches. You know what I'm saying? So you got to have way more heart over height. And then on the other side of that, I really think you got to have a strong basketball IQ at that size, because if you can get other guys, like I said, it's hard to guard you, number one. And if you can get other guys shots and set other people up to get shots, I think you're going to be successful. And then I think a major key as a smaller guard, you got to be able to shoot the ball. Got to be able to shoot it from the outside if you are a smaller guard, because you get down there in them trees like Joe and Chris and Andre, you're going to be put on your butt. And if your float game ain't where it's supposed to be at, it's going to be tough. So you really got to be able to shoot that ball from the outside. So I would say when you're talking about smaller guards, you got to have way more heart than you do anything. You got to have a strong basketball IQ, be able to get downhill and get other guys shots. And then I think you got to be able to shoot it from the outside. And then you got to be willing to do dirty stuff on the defensive end, take charges, double down in the post, always digging in, being that pesky little mosquito in your ear. You got to be willing to do all that little stuff on the floor. Like, what's going to separate you? You know what I'm saying? Because you're somewhat already at a disadvantage, but what's going to separate you? And your heart definitely can do that. Your shot will be able to do that. But are you going to take charges? Are you going to dive on the floor 50-50s? Are you going to double down in the post? Are you going to be a leader? The whole nine. Like, you got to bring something else to the table that's going to separate you from the rest of the pack, because you're somewhat already at a little disadvantage.
I tell my little guys all the time, every game, the opposing guard should want to fight you because you that gritty. They should want to fight you every time because you're that gritty.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, we know about that. Joker still want to fight me.
So basically, Brad, so the thing I'm getting out of this is basically a high school kid has to come out rich.
Yes.
Basically being one of them elite kids.
You say they have to come out ready?
Yeah, they have to be ready. They have to be an impact player immediately.
You got to have something to you, yeah, for sure. You got to have, like we say it all the time, like, he got some shit to him. If you're a high school kid, like, yeah, you got to have some shit to your game and something that separates you, because – and that's another thing people do with JUCO. Some people look down on it and say, hey, I ain't going JUCO. I'm too good for that. You come JUCO, you're going to play some competition every single night, especially these Florida JUCOs. You're going to play another kid or 2 or 3, sometime even 4 that's going Division I, sometime 5. Like,
I'm the just left D1.
Exactly.
Let me ask y'all this. Y'all coach and y'all play JUCO. And I remember when they used to bring in JUCOs in the spring, players. Don't you think they got more grit off rip? Like, they hungrier because of what they went through in JUCO?
So my take on JUCO was, and still is a kid that has some deficiencies or issues. You shot somebody, you stabbed somebody, you got somebody pregnant, you don't have no grades. I mean, seriously. You have
it ain't as bad no more, but you 100% right.
Yeah, but I'm just I'm joking around with it, but I'm just saying those are the guys that have a little edge, a little dog to them.
Right.
Needs a little more discipline. Just need to take it a little bit more serious. I don't think these kids understand, because one, I don't think the JUCO gets enough exposure. All that goes on social media is D1, 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 D1.
Right.
And these kids don't understand that to go JUCO would prepare them for where they want to go Division I if they're not ready academically or basketball-wise. Or they may need that extra year to get a little size on, get in the weight room, be a little bit more athletic for their body to grow in that process. Now, so Coach, I'm gonna ask you this before I know we're cutting down on time. Do you think it's gonna open up more for these?
Wait, Drew, wait.
Do you think it's gonna open up a little bit more for these post grads?
We were. It's funny. We were just talking about that yesterday. Yeah, like I think a lot of dudes are gonna start, pouring into these post grads. And to be honest, if you find the right post grad program, it is not a bad place to go, especially if they're getting the exposure, they're getting the coaches. They're getting the coaches in the gym. It's definitely not a bad place at all. And I say all the time, if you're gonna go post grad, do your research on them first. But it's definitely not a bad spot to go. And yes, I do think it's gonna open up, a lot of different opportunities for your preps and your post grads and things like that.
Okay, because I know a couple of years ago, NCAA was trying to do away with a whole bunch of bandit programs, post grad programs. So,
yeah.
Do you think they're gonna start coming back?
Yeah, I do, because you always got your people out there with, I don't even want to say it right now on live, so I'm not gonna say it. But at the end of the day, I do think your post grad programs are gonna come back. They're never gonna go away, because that's just the nature of the game. And there's so many players out there, so there needs to be some post grads, because it's not enough JUCOs, not enough D2s, not enough NAIAs or D1. So it needs to be some post grads. Give a kid an extra year, get him some exposure, get him some extra work and things like that. So there's actually a need for it, in my opinion, because there's so many kids out there that want to play this game, but sometimes you need to put in a little bit extra work, and sometimes that post grad year will do it for you, and you blow up and you become a player.
Yeah, and I do clean that up, because not all post grads are bad. There's some very
not at all. Not at all. There's good ones. There's good ones everywhere. And there's one right here in Polk County. Advanced Prep Academy does a good job with their guys. So it's post grad is not a bad place. There's some of them that teach you way more than just the game of basketball. They teach you life skills, things like that. Like the one right here in Polk County, he doesn't go get them meals. Like I get meal sponsors for my guys, things like that. He puts them through cooking classes, teaches them how to cook and things like that. So now they're young men learning how to survive on their own as they're moving forward in life. So that's huge in my opinion.
Yeah, your dad taught us the same thing. We was in JUCO, but we ain't have no class. We had to figure it out. But unfortunately, guys, that's
y'all had Josh Giles one-on-one. That's it.
DT, we appreciate you coming on, man. That's our time. Unfortunately, Zoom only gives us about.
Yes, sir, bro.
So we down to the last 30 seconds, but.
And I appreciate y'all, man. It was a great time. I would love to do this again with you. And this is awesome what y'all are doing, man, and keep it up. And I look forward to rewatching this quarantine episode.
All right, man. Peace.
Appreciate it, Giles.
All right, man. Y'all keep grinding, man. I love watching y'all out there, too. Keep grinding.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Yo, pump it up.